this attempted murder, the fate of parents Ihsan and Zahraa Ali will be in the hands of the jury as verdict watch begins today in the attempted honor killing trial. And a massive manhunt is underway for a murderer at Devil's Den Park in Arkansas. A couple killed in front of their young daughters. Some evidence now pointing to a premeditated attack. Plus, will Ghislaine Maxwell be freed while the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein is urging the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn her sex trafficking conviction? And also coming up this hour, a woman shot 5 times by her estranged husband will be taking the stand. This is in the case against defendant Billy Delgado. So will her testimony tip the scales of justice? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Tuesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. This is the show where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. So grab that cup of coffee. We got a tremendous show planned with outstanding guests coming up. It's time for my opening statement. What a hero. Marine veteran Derek Perry is a hero. And he deserves to be commended for stepping in at that Michigan Walmart and stopping that stabbing rampage. Perry is the good guy with the gun who ordered the stabbing suspect to drop his knife and surrender. Perry and the other Good Samaritans united and they confronted that dangerous man. Their actions and their bravery in a potentially deadly situation helped to get that suspect into police custody. And Derek Perry was clearly the leader of those Good Samaritans, using his gun to order that man to drop that knife. And he did it without firing a single shot. Nobody else got hurt. This morning, I say thank goodness for that hero. Derek Perry bravely served our great country in the Marine Corps, and he stepped up yet again to serve other people in the most unexpected way. May God bless him, and may he be recognized for his willingness to save all of those people. Derek Perry, I salute you. That's my opening statement on this Tuesday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket. In Texas, we've got the assault trial for defendant Billy Delgado. This case resumes. He's accused of shooting his estranged wife, Erica, hitting her 5 times in her abdomen. Court starts back up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. In Colorado, we've got closing arguments beginning in the Poison Shake murder case for James Craig. Remember him, the former dentist on trial there? Well, that starts up at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The judge is only allowing us to film the opens and the closes, so we'll be bringing you that, of course. And in Washington, we've got a verdict watch. It's beginning at noon today, my friends, in the attempted honor killing trial. And that is, of course, our top story for you this Tuesday. So did those 2 parents try to kill their teenage daughter? That is the big question the jury is going to be answering when they go to deliberate today. The prosecution and the defense laid out their final words on Monday.
Grabs her by the hoodie, and he places her in a rear naked choke, and we've heard that described with specificity. He takes her to the ground. He holds her in that choke for an extended period of time. He ignores those repeated screams and demands of no less than 6 kids.
What does she do? She ran across a parking lot, through a crowd of kids, said that she could see her husband being punched. Not 30 times, not 40 times, towards the end, stood there, as we saw in the video when it zoomed in, kind of with Mr. Wagner. Wagner goes in, frees the daughter. If that's attempted murder, we're all in trouble.
That's the 53 seconds that we're talking about. That's the amount of time for all of this to happen where Mr. Ali allegedly formed the intent to kill his daughter. That's what they're thinking that he was doing. A man who called the police when his daughter was missing. What happened here, though? Isaiah got himself involved in this. He put himself in the situation and made it physical.
Parents Ihsan and Zahraa Ali are both accused of the crime of second-degree attempted murder for this attack. And prosecutors said that it all erupted after they discovered their daughter Fatima had run away from home to try to avoid moving to Iraq, which was set to happen that same day. So, big question, has the state proven its case? Have they proven that this was an attempted murder? Let's bring in our legal expert. He's a two-time former United States attorney. He's also a former state-level prosecutor, and he's a heavy hitter in the private sector now, doing criminal defense work, William Ehlenfeld. William, good morning to you. Okay, what do you think? What is the verdict? Has the state proven these charges against these two defendants in your view?
Good morning, Julie. Great to be back on the show. So this is a difficult case. Not that there's not a lot of evidence, and we've got the video, and we've got all these eyewitness statements, and we've got great testimony from the people who were there that day who helped to release Mr. Ali's chokehold on his daughter. But there was a lot of chaos, and I think that's what the defense is hanging their hat on. This was a very chaotic incident, and we've talked about other trials on this show where chaos sort of takes over, and the jury has to, try to decide, what was the intent, and did the father react in such a way that was based upon the chaos that he was experiencing and all of the excitement that was going on, or did he truly have the intent to kill his daughter? And I think the tricky thing here is, how could a parent ever have that intent to harm their child, to kill their child? And there's a key piece of evidence that they're not allowed to talk about, and the prosecution is not allowed to talk about, and that's this arranged marriage, this honor killing, this honor marriage that that we know about, but the jury's not allowed to hear about. So to answer your question, Julie, I think that they will be convicted. I think both of these defendants will be convicted, but I'm not sure that they'll be convicted of second-degree murder. I certainly don't think the mother will be, although we can get into the statute on principals and accomplices and how that works in the state of Washington. But I think that ultimately the father will be convicted of something that a little bit less than the second-degree murder, and the mother will be convicted of something, but not second-degree murder either.
William, excellent analysis. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm in agreement with you with Mom. I think it's harder for the jury to see it. I'm not saying they were wrong in charging it. I think by the letter of the law, they were probably exactly right to charge it this way on these facts. But it's hard when Mom is standing by. She's not stopping it, as we know, but the jury isn't seeing her actively hurting her daughter, as we're seeing the father doing here. With respect to Fatima, we got to hear her own words about this. I want to roll the clip now when she's on the stand and gives her opinion of her father trying to kill her.
What are you thinking during this period of time?
Okay.
Heartbroken.
Okay. By what?
For what my dad did.
Okay. Did you have any fear?
Yes.
About what?
Of dying.
Where inside the school?
Straight to the office.
Did you tell them anything when you got there?
Yes.
And what did you say when you walked in?
He was trying to kill me.
Oh, my gosh, her own words, he was trying to kill me. And I have another guest joining us now. She's been on the show before. She is the co-producer and the director of The Price of Honor, Nina Najad. Nina, thanks for waking up early for us this morning. You're on the West Coast. And wanted to get your reaction. We talked to you earlier in the case, but now that all the evidence is in, the arguments are in, your thoughts on some of the cultural things, and William was so great to touch on this moments ago, some of the things that the jury isn't hearing, but we know are going on in the family dynamics at play. What do you think is important for people to know here, please?
I think one thing I've heard a lot is about how the father and mother, their facial expressions and whatnot, and especially the father, how he has no emotions, and that is very typical. And I can honestly say if my dad was in the same position and that's sitting where he is, he would have the same expressions as well. I would guarantee 100 other Middle Eastern men, if you put him, that's just how they are. They don't express their emotions. So there's things that you have to understand about the culture. And, you kind of wonder if the jury is thinking about that. Are they looking at the father and saying, well, he doesn't have expression, then he must not care, when that is really not the case. And I thought it was interesting that I think it was Zahra's lawyer talking about unconscious bias, and I think that is going to play a role in their decision as well.
Great points there, Anina, great points. And for anybody wondering, they do have a translator, so they're using those headphones and have a translator in real time, making sure they're understanding everything. We know that we see there's some English, the dad's speaking, we see him on camera, and but in all interests of fairness and to make sure they're both being given a translator. William, let me ask you, please. The child, Fatima, is an adult now, technically. She's in the custody of the state. She just turned 18. It's unclear what's going to happen with her. The judge was still careful, as you both know, to not show her face on camera to protect her privacy, as she was a minor, leading up to this trial. William, how concerning is it to you, as somebody who's handled a lot of domestic violence and child abuse cases in your career, the idea that if the parents are not convicted of something, if she does have to return back home, how safe or unsafe do you think things may be for her?
I don't expect it would be very safe at all for her, and I'd have great concern about what the next step would be for her. I know that on the day of this incident, she had come to school and had expressed fear. She didn't want to go to another country, and school officials had set up a place for her to go somewhere in the area, in her community. And so I would expect that opportunity would still exist for her, where she could go to a home, she could go to a safe place where she wouldn't have to be back in that environment. But I would hope that court officials and the prosecutor's office and school officials would all sort of come together and develop a plan for her in the instance that perhaps these two aren't convicted and they end up being free and they expect to return to some sort of life with their daughter. I think there's probably going to be a plan in place, at least I hope so, where she's going to be able to go somewhere that's safe, where she's protected, and where she no longer has to go back to an environment where obviously she was almost killed. Whatever their intent was, whatever the jury finds their intent was, they intended to do harm that day. The father certainly did. And I think some of the most powerful evidence, Julie, that we've seen is not what he was doing to the daughter, but what he was doing to others. The fact that he punched her boyfriend, he clearly had violence on his mind that day. It's not a safe environment for the daughter, and I hope she doesn't have to go back to it.
William, great points. I'm so glad you brought up Isaiah, because we saw coming from the defense a little bit of blaming of him. Oh, he started this, he was part of the problem. And on Monday, Nina, on Monday, we saw Fatima in court leaning on her boyfriend Isaiah's mother in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. What do you think the impact of that is, the interaction she's having with Isaiah's family on her own parents?
Oh, it's a huge impact. I think it's a huge slap in the face to her family. And I wonder if the juries did notice that or not. But I think she's definitely making a huge statement that she wants nothing to do with her own family and that she's stepping away from them.
Right. Nina, and I saw you were nodding when I was asking William the question about how legally, she's 18, she doesn't have anywhere else to go and she goes back home. Tell me, do you have a concern as well with these parents? I saw you were nodding when I was asking her to go back and enter that house.
Absolutely. I don't think she would be safe. Even though I don't consider this act as an honor killing, it doesn't mean that it won't happen down the line. Especially everything that has happened up to this point, the shame that she's brought to the family, and the parents going to trial. I don't think it would be safe for her to go home. I absolutely agree with that. Mm-hmm.
And Nina, for anybody who might have missed it, tell us again, please. You gave us your opinion recently that what happened at that bus stop was not an attempted honor killing. You're not saying that it wasn't an attempted killing. Could be that, but just not an attempted honor killing. Why do you say that, please?
Because generally, honor killings, it's not something that they would do in such an open, public manner. It is something that is always done behind closed doors. And usually there'll be other male members involved to kind of help, lack of better words. So that's why I don't believe this was an honor killing. I think this was just a really act of rage and anger at that moment. I don't think initially he went there to do anything. He went to just take her home, and she refused, and of course things escalated. But generally honor killings is not something that they would ever do in public in such a manner.
This is really helpful information to understand, and even though the jury isn't, you know, hearing about honor killings or arranged marriages, it's really helpful for all of us to have some context here. Nina, you've been so great. We always love having you on the show as a special guest. Thank you so much. Again, Nina's film, The Price of Honor. Nina Najad, we'll see you soon. And William's coming along with us. We want you to do the same at home. Please go get another cup of coffee. Here's what's next.
A unanimous jury has found Ghislaine Maxwell guilty of one of the worst crimes imaginable: facilitating and participating in the sexual abuse of children. Crimes that she committed with her longtime partner and co-conspirator, Jeffrey Epstein. The road to justice has been far too long.
Will Madam Ghislaine Maxwell be freed from prison? Well, she's asking our U.S. Supreme Court to overturn her sex trafficking conviction. And a married couple murdered in front of their 2 young children at a popular state park in Arkansas. We'll have the latest in the manhunt for the killer at Devil's Den.
2 parents face a jury
over the attempted murder of their own daughter. Court TV takes you inside the trial that's torn a family apart.
The attempted honor killing trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV. This week.
Join us each morning to get trial ready for the day's proceedings. Plus, deeper dives into true crime stories with our daily spotlight.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. Let's talk about what is trending in true crime. Arkansas police releasing a composite sketch in the manhunt for a murder at Devil's Den State Park. Have you heard about this case? Take a look at the sketch. So this was released last night. This is a person of interest. Police say this guy killed a married couple that was hiking in a remote area of the park, but that he left the couple's 2 daughters unharmed. Now, this is the first image given to the public by the state police as they're searching for this killer on day number 4. This guy is described as a white man with a medium build. He was seen wearing a black tank top, black pants, fingerless gloves, and carrying a backpack. Police believe this suspect likely sustained an injury while attacking this couple. Suspect may have also fled in a black 4-door sedan with a license plate partially covered up by tape. Now, authorities have not provided a motive or elaborated on just how the couple was killed. So what does this sound like? Does this sound like a premeditated attack? Wait till you see our power panel. Wow, I'm so glad to have him on the program this morning. Private investigator, former NYPD detective, and military veteran Manuel Gomez. I also have with me former NYPD detective and law professor Mike Alcazar, and retired NYPD detective, military veteran, and the host of the Rob O'Donnell Show, Rob O'Donnell. Great to have you all here on the program. Wow, okay, this horrific crime happens to these 2 people. Everybody wondering, was this random? Was this guy setting out to do this killing? Manuel Gomez, would you kick things off for us, please?
Unfortunately, there's not too much evidence out there being released to the public, but I do feel that this was a random killing. The thing that people need to be aware is that, unfortunately, as I said countless times, Julie, you need to protect yourself. If you're going to go into these state parks, they're not protected, okay? Especially Arkansas is an open carry state. And, you know, if you have that ability to carry a firearm, legally possess it, carry one. Or if not, at a minimum, carry something like this, which is legal in every state. It's a tactical assault pen. I carry it in court. You can fight with it, stab with it, and it'll protect you, and write with it as well. Okay, you can't go into these places by yourselves thinking you're safe, because you're not. The predators are there.
You're so right. Manuel, you're awesome. I got to get one of those pens here for the studio. Thank you for that. Appreciate the safety tips. My gosh, in this climate we're living in, you never know. We're going to talk about it in the next story about the Walmart case. Rob O'Donnell, great to see you back. It was wonderful to join you on your show last week as we were talking about the Idaho 4 student murders case. Your show on Odyssey. Everybody be sure to check it out. And you served many years in the NYPD. What did you think when you heard this case? You think this is random, premeditated? premeditated? Share your thoughts, please, Rob.
Well, the fact that this couple recently relocated to this area shows that, pre-planning on this, or did he follow them from where they were coming from, is probably unlikely. But the fact that he did have some sort of tape masking his license plate, was he planning on some sort of crime? Most likely. I mean, there was some sort of premeditation there that something was about to occur. Why else obscure his plate with duct tape or electrical tape, which is seen on the surveillance cameras? That being said, you're dealing with two individuals hiking in very good shape. He's grown adults. It is not an easy task to take down two grown adults in decent shape. So I would think there was some sort of planning that he was looking to do something. If they were specifically targeted, or was it a random attack on anyone that was there, the fact that he left the children unarmed shows some level of consciousness that he did not want to harm children, or they were able to escape enough to where there was maybe other people around to scare him off before he was able to do anything. But these people individually targeted for a reason, I don't know, but the fact that there is some sort of premeditation shows he was planning something.
Great points, Rob. Thank you for all of that. Yeah, these victims, Clinton Brink, 43, Kristen Brink, 41. The two daughters left unharmed, 7 and 9 years old, other with family. This morning, our hearts go out to all of them. Mike Alcazar, last but certainly not least on the power panel, your thoughts on this, please.
I agree with both my colleagues that there was some premeditation. Again, he's masking his plate, so not specifically targeting perhaps these two people, but he was definitely planning on doing something, perpetrating some kind of a crime. I'm hoping that the kids were able to run away. I don't think, this guy's a killer. I don't think he thought twice about killing those kids. They probably just escaped, and there's reports that he might have some injuries, so maybe he did kill those two parents, and then he didn't have enough time to do the rest, and then he fled the scene. But I agree, in a location like this where it's very isolated, you certainly should be thinking about protecting yourself when you're staying in a location like that.
Excellent points, Mike, Rob, Manuel. Let's turn to another story. We'll continue following the Arkansas one and report any developments, but we've got to talk about what happened in Michigan, that community healing there after the stabbing at that local Walmart. A Marine veteran held the suspect at gunpoint in the store parking lot. Take a look.
Hey, he hasn't dropped it. Put it down.
Just incredible here, and nobody else got hurt. After that point, this guy was done. This is the suspect, Bradford Gilley. Police say he acted alone when he went into that store, armed with a folding knife with a 3.5-inch blade. Police say he stabbed 11 people, one of the victims, a Walmart employee. The victim's age ranges for anywhere from 29 to 84, all taken to a local hospital for treatment. And you see this group of bystanders includes military veteran Derek Perry, the Marine I mentioned in my opening statement, and also Matthew Kolakowski, another veteran in the video. They all acted together. This video coming from the New York Post, showing that successful capture. And on Sunday, police talked about this defendant's background, and doctors also gave an update on the victims. Let's listen.
Mr. Gilley's history shows prior assaultive incidents as well as controlled substance violations. A motive has not yet been determined.
The initial triage, as I think you heard yesterday evening, there were 6 patients who were in critical condition and 5 patients who were in severe condition at that time. I'm happy to report 1 patient has been treated and released. Now we have 10 remaining patients, 2 who remain in serious condition, and the others have progressed to fair condition.
All right, let's get the big takeaways from our power panel. Rob O'Donnell, would love to start with you this time. Your thoughts on the capture, please.
Well, it's great to see this Marine veteran take initiation to intervene with this individual. He did have the firearm. He did have the tools to do so. The fact that the individual, the other veteran in the purple shirt, kept intervening himself and actually getting in the line of fire of the Marine veteran, I do see that as a problem. Listen, he initiated, the Marine with the firearm initiated holding the suspect and making sure he wasn't a threat, making him put the knife down. He's in charge. He's giving the commands. He's the one with the firearm. He initiated this event. It was good to see good Samaritans step up in a case like this, especially after we see things around the nation like a Daniel Penny incident in New York City. So it just goes to show you want good guys with the proper training, with the proper tools like a firearm in the right place at the right time.
It is so true. I say it all the time. I love a good guy with a gun. Rob, thank you for that. Mike Alcazar, let me go to you next. Your thoughts on the capture, please.
Yeah, I agree with Rob. The Marine did a great job. He had good weapons control. He seemed to be shouting good commands. And I do agree with Rob that, the other civilians were kind of like getting in the way, and they could potentially risk being shot by the Marine. God forbid this perpetrator decided to act or not listen to the commands. So, again, we appreciate all the civilians that helped, especially this Marine veteran, and good job with a good guy with a weapon. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. You're so right, Mike. Manuel Gomez, will you take us home, please? Your thoughts on the capture?
Well, I feel that all of them were heroes that got in there and put up their lives in front of this guy. And thank God, like my colleague said, for the guy with the gun. But I do realize that when they look for a motive on why he stabbed, I don't think they're going to find one. Because Julia, I watched the arraignment. This man could not barely speak. And he also has a psychological history. From what I watched on the arraignment, it seems like he might possibly be suffering from schizophrenia and something like that. But he has the history. He couldn't even talk in court. As a matter of fact, they got him locked up in jail. And right now, not only is he a threat to himself, but he's a threat to the people in jail. And they should have put him in a place where he was under a mental clinic where he was isolated from the population, because I still feel he's a threat to the people in jail right now.
Yeah, important points. I really love what you said, Manuel, about all those bystanders, how they united, and they are our heroes. And you three are heroes as well. So thank you all for your service and the great analysis today. Manuel Gomez, Rob O'Donnell, Mike Alcazar. I hope to see you all again very soon. Thank you kindly. Still to come here on opening statements. Will Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking conviction be overturned? We're spotlighting her case and the information she may be giving up with respect to Jeffrey Epstein. And we've got a woman shot 5 times, allegedly by her estranged husband, and she's expected to take the stand against him at his trial. She survived. We'll talk about it in What's Tipping the Scales.
He's everywhere. He shot me everywhere. Please don't let him take my kids. I really thought that she was gonna die on me. I was trying my best to save her life.
Welcome back. In our spotlight this morning, now that Ghislaine Maxwell, the ex-girlfriend and madam of Jeffrey Epstein, has spoken to the federal government, we're wondering what she told them. So Maxwell recently met with a top Justice Department official, and according to her attorney, was asked about 100 different people, and she answered every question. In 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to spend 20 years in prison for helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. In a jailhouse interview with Talk TV, Maxwell wasn't exactly empathetic toward the victims when Epstein died behind bars without answering for his crimes.
Epstein died, and they should take their disappointment and upset out on the authorities that allowed that to happen.
Maxwell is also asking our U.S. Supreme Court to overturn her conviction. So, is there a deal to be made here? a release from prison, perhaps, based on the information she shared? Let's bring in our guest to talk about this. Still with me, former United States attorney. He's a practicing criminal defense attorney in the private sector now, William Ehlenfeld, and the director of the National Center for Victims of Crime. She's also an attorney. Renee Williams is here too. Great to have you both on this. William, let me start with you here, please. The possible things that could come out of this meeting. I think everybody's wondering, so what happens? Is it a release? Is it, are more people going to be prosecuted? Tell us what we should be thinking about, please.
So, first off, it's highly unusual for the Deputy Attorney General of the United States to go and conduct a witness briefing to debrief someone who's either a witness or a defendant or a convicted criminal. And so this almost never happens. When I was U.S. Attorney, I didn't jump into those kinds of meetings unless it was a case I was personally handling. Otherwise, I let my staff do that kind of work. And there's reasons for that. You know, when you're at a high level in an office or at the Department of Justice, you don't want to make yourself a witness. You don't want to get down into the weeds and do the work of the people that are really on the front lines. You're more of an administrator as the Deputy Attorney General, not actually a prosecutor. So highly unusual that he did that. But you know what's going to result from this? It's a little bit unclear at this point in time. What we do know is that she was given a Queen for a Day letter. That's basically immunity to talk to the government. And so she talked about things that perhaps she did wrong, but was able to provide information about others. There's the potential that other people that perhaps committed crimes could ultimately be prosecuted and she could be a witness. Now, you typically don't sit down for such an interview unless you're going to get something in return. The media reports indicate that she has been offered nothing. There are no promises made in exchange for her information. You know, I don't know if that's the case or not. But typically when you have somebody sit down and you offer them immunity for the day and they talk about other people, they expect to get something in return. So it remains to be seen. And just in the normal world of the DOJ, and I'm not sure that this is normal what's happening here, but in the normal world of the DOJ, if somebody offers information that allows you to prosecute someone who's done harm to others, whether it's through drug trafficking or violent crime or something else, you're typically going to receive some sort of benefit, some sort of reduction in your sentence. So I'm sure that's what she and her attorney are hoping for. Of course, they're taking that other angle of going up to the U.S. Supreme Court, or at least they hope to get into the U.S. Supreme Court to try to attack her conviction that way.
A really, really helpful context and insight you're sharing with us, William. Thank you for that. Renee, of course, I want to turn to you and talk about the victims and the sentiment that's out there publicly with so many of these people who just feel so frustrated by what they perceive as a real lack of justice being served in this case. Would you share your thoughts on this, please?
Sure. Well, I think there are many, many victims that we probably don't know about. And that is because what happens in trafficking is that traffickers groom their victims. And so there are a lot of women who are probably still very afraid to come forward because there's some very powerful men out there. We don't even know the scope or the breadth of what the files say. And so I think we can't even say in cases like this because this case is like something we've never seen. And so we are just going to kind of keep waiting for justice for some of these victims because it will take a long time before they're ready to come forward, if they're ever ready to come forward.
That's such an excellent point, Renee. I want to show a clip now. This is Ghislaine Maxwell talking to Talk TV, and she's saying that she believes that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in the jail, that he didn't die by suicide.
I believe that he was murdered. Well, I was shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because as far as I was concerned, he was going to... I was sure he was going to appeal. I obviously wish I'd never met him. You know, looking back now, I probably wish I had stayed in England.
Oh, I'm sure she does. Renee, staying on this topic of the victims, his death was such a blow, I think, to so many people who were interested in seeing him prosecuted and essentially, you know, publicly destroyed for the crimes that we know that he committed based on the evidence and things that were done in the past. If he got a sweetheart deal on, we won't even go there. Tell me, do you think that we're ever going to see this death case reopened with him? Do you think there's ever going to be any more of a spotlight put on how he died in the jail?
No. And in some ways, I hate to say this, but I don't know how much it matters for the victims on how he died. I think what we are seeing with some of these victims is the same thing that we see with many victims in the justice system, is that there is no justice, no formal mechanism of justice. And so that's why we see so many individuals reach out to the civil justice system and use the civil justice system. And it's something that we tell folks at the National Center quite often is sometimes you have to find peace without justice because our justice system sometimes just fails. But as far as Epstein's death, I don't think we'll ever know what happened. I'm not sure that it's worth it to reopen that case. Personally. I think that might be a controversial statement, but I just don't see the value in it.
Yeah, no, and really wanted your opinion on this. You know, we've been asking other show guests. We've talked about this with others, and it's as you both know, this is a really a heated battle going on. There's many facets of this. You know, we stay away from politics, as you both know, on Court TV. But yeah, fair questions whether we'll ever see anything open there and whether these victims will get justice, or as you said so beautifully, Renee, sometimes it's just about finding the peace. We'll leave it there for now, but again, Renee is the Executive Director of the National Center for Victims of Crime, and we'd love to have you back again very soon. Renee, thank you so much. William's coming with us. Please do the same at home, my friends. When we come back, here's what's next. So caught on camera, a woman is shot multiple times by her estranged husband. We're talking about the newest assault case happening against defendant Billy Delgado, and she's set to testify against him today.
Two parents face a jury
over the attempted murder of their own daughter. Court TV takes you inside the trial that's torn a family apart.
The attempted honor killing trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, legendary trials.
A woman who allegedly survived a shooting at the hands of her husband is who could be tipping the scales of justice today in our newest trial out of Texas. The shot 5 times murder case resumes this morning. Billy Delgado accused of shooting his ex-wife while she was picking up their daughter. And before we talk about the possible impact the victim can make on the stand, here's more on the background of the case.
You know, you never expect to get a phone call that your child has been shot.
June 1st, 2024, Texas mom Erica Torres is shot multiple times after her estranged husband asked her to meet him to pick up their daughter.
She was fortunate enough that she had not gotten off the car, and she was able to drive away before he unloaded a 9mm with 14 rounds.
Erica was shot 5 times and was involved in a 3-car accident as she fled the scene and tried to drive herself to the hospital. Her mother told local station KGNS that it was touch and go for a time as doctors worked to save Erica's life.
They do tell us that it doesn't look good and that they don't know that she'll be able to make it through the surgery.
Erica survived her injuries but spent months in intensive care. Her now ex-husband, Billy Delgado, is facing an aggravated assault charge in her shooting. Prosecutors offered Delgado a 40-year plea deal in the case, but he rejected it. If Billy Delgado is convicted, he could be sentenced to up to 99 years in prison.
This case is almost unbelievable that she was able to survive all those shots, drive herself to the hospital, and then live to tell about it today. She could be taking the stand today. So will she tip the scales of justice? Let's ask our legal eagle on the program this morning. He's a two-time former U.S. attorney. William Ehlenfeld also did a lot of domestic violence prosecutions when he worked as a state-level prosecutor. So William, your thoughts on this woman, this story, remarkable, isn't it?
It is. This is incredible. It's just hard to believe that someone would do that to the mother of his child. And he made a statement that's come out in some of the evidence that he did this for his daughter. It's just reprehensible what he did. The video is shocking. And, you know, I had a lot of domestic violence cases at the state and federal level. I never had any case quite like this one. This is just shocking.
Yeah, it really is. And looking at that video, so you see the video, and then, of course, it begs the question, so what's the defense here? So tapping into your experience as a seasoned criminal defense attorney, where do you expect them to go with this, William?
So, you know, I guess it goes back to the statement that he made that was picked up on some of the body cam footage by the arresting officers, where he accepted responsibility for it. And it's going to be kind of hard for him not to distance himself from what he did, as you can see there in the video. But I think he's going to say that somehow, some way, his daughter was in danger being in the custody of the mother. I don't know anything about the situation at all. You know, that it's you know, as the prosecutor, the pushback to that, if he felt like the daughter was somehow shouldn't be with the mother, it's not to be handled this way. It's to go to court. That's why we have laws. We have lawyers. We make arguments. We exchange paper. We don't resolve conflict with guns. We resolve conflict related to child custody in the courtroom and with a family judge. So I don't think that argument that the defense is going to make is going to pass muster, because the prosecution is going to say, look, yeah, there was a way to resolve this. It was to go to court and argue over custody issues if there were any.
Mm-hmm. Right. Great point. This was not the way to do it. It's almost like, you know, I would make the argument that were me on this case prosecuting it. It was like he was lying in wait. You know, he's standing in wait, you know, arm down by his side. She pulls up, and then very quickly we see him raise his arm and fire. And then we showed the video where then she crashes, and unfortunately, as she's trying to get herself to safety and to get some treatment. William, I think a lot of people wondering, how does she survive 5 shots? Don't know, but would love your take on this. Wonder if it could have anything to do with the size of the weapon. The government showed the jury the weapon yesterday, and I believe we have a picture of the pistol that he used. Appears to be a smaller firearm that he might have used, and I'm just wondering if that, let's see, this is the first time I'm seeing this video too. Oh, well, it doesn't look that small to me. Now I take that back. Somebody in the newsroom told me it looked small to them. Yeah, 9mm was what we heard the one witness say. Maybe just where she was hit. Your thoughts? Five shots to the abdomen she sustained, William.
By the grace of God, she survived. The fact that she was hit that many times, the fact that it hit her in that part of her body, it's as if God wanted her to survive so she could be there for her daughter, because the father's not going to be around. He's going to prison probably for the rest of his life. So I think that's the only good reason I can come up with. It's not a legal reason. It's a spiritual one.
Yeah, no, it's a great one. I love it. I'm sure our courties do at home. William Ehlenfeld, thank you so much for the great insight and analysis. Friends at home, follow him on X. William, we'll see you soon. Take good care.